Okay, so I'm 21 seconds in this video that's 8 minutes and 49 seconds. It's from Urban Atlas on YouTube. Why this is Ontario's most dangerous highway. Okay, I've spoken about this before. This is where I pulled over an OPP officer for not doing his job. I'll explain this in a minute. But it won't be surprising because what I'm talking about, this video was just posted a bit over 4 hours ago. Uh, what I did was years ago, okay, and I did some cultural repair work by contacting officials, for example, just like I did with the corruption of driving schools in Ontario, giving discounts to people who would just buy certificates, discounts on their insurance. That's not been solved either, and that's you know more than 30 years I think it's been going on. So I'm also going to contact a humanist uh, magazine in Canada that have published at least one of my articles in the past, and I'm going to contact some in the States and maybe other countries. And I'm going to say I'd like to write it. I haven't written it yet, but I'd like to write an article or essay or whatever you want to call it that says why I've had to let go of humanism as an ideology. And part of it is I don't believe we're capable of it because it involves solving our own problems or self correction or adaptation, and we just don't have that as a species. So, there's overwhelming proof. Now, I could say to convince them to, before I write it, because I don't want to waste my time, is that I will say what I need to see, before starting to believe in humanism again, because I took it out of ecocentric humanist worldview. I'm just a ecocentric worldview now. Hopefully that'll be enough for them to print it, but really they should print it. It's not like it's gonna get them to lose a lot of memberships. I mean, but the thing is that's how you define humanism based on your own definitions, and this is not measurable evidence of our species, right? So I'm gonna send this video to Urban Atlas. Okay, so this is what happened: is I'm with my smart car in the north of Ontario on Highway 11. I believe that's the highway they're talking about, and a horrible construction zone. Okay, and tractor trailers going at speeds where I'm not even sure their wheels were always touching the ground. Like it was a construction zone where it wasn't just potholes. It was like elevated. It wasn't flattened out. And there's a lot of kind of jumps. And I think the speed limit was still 90, and it shouldn't even be 70. So at one point, I stop and talk to a vehicle that is construction related safety, and I say, "What the hell's going on here? That's crazy. Why are tractor trailers tailgating me, which is already dangerous enough on any road, but on a road where no way is 90 safe?" And the supervisor of safety for construction says, "I know. I tell my boss I want a lower speed limit, and he won't do it." And so I say, "Well, uh, that's crazy." So I continue, and I'm pretty upset with the tractor trailers who are taking a detour, from what I gather, from the Trans-Canada Highway to go on the 11. And they might not even have any business on the 11. But it's a place where anything goes, really. It's like laws of the jungle on the highway. So I see an OPP officer, and I flag him, pull him over. And he's like, "Whoa." And I had just seen in a campground a Jim Carrey movie, Me, Myself, Irene, I think it's called, where he has a mustache. He's a motorcycle police officer. And when the police officer comes out of his vehicle, I go a little bit like this, so maybe he didn't like that either. But I say, "Hey, I want to give a complaint. What's going on? Why aren't you pulling over trucks here?" And after he checks me out, uh, he comes back and tells me where to go do my complaint against him and the OPP. And he says, "I can follow you." I said, "No, I want to have lunch." I said, "Just give me the address and I'll go." And when I went after lunch, and it was on the way to where I was going, nobody came to the door. And I think their fuse box or power panel was there, so that means like they were vulnerable in that way. It was right at the door before the one that unlocks, it looks like. Anyways, they never came to the door. But what I found out is I think the Minister of Transportation in Ontario was telling OPP, yeah, don't pull over our tractor trailers. It's bad for the economy, kind of thing. And now you would think, oh, it's only dangerous for people on the roads, but some of the vehicles are carrying things that are toxic that can go into rivers that would impact people or farmers that are super far from these roads. But what's even worse is on my way back, there was a lady trying to change her flat tire. She was in the car with her son and her mother. Okay, and what I found out, and the son, the way I was talking, he'd never met an Homo sapien before. He's like really fascinated by what I'm saying. But I'm noticing the flat was caused by a serious dent on the metal of the wheel because she's going more than 90 in this dangerous zone with her kid in the car and her mom. And guess what the dad's job is? Works in construction in that community. So I don't know what to tell you. She's putting her kid at risk. She's going so fast that it put a dent hitting these potholes on her tire that caused a flat. And she's argumentative with me that's helping her because she's a teacher who kind of doesn't really, who panics when she actually has to do something, not just say something. And her kid wanted to learn this, and she's like wanting him to stay away from me because he's learning stuff from me. And the mom was trying to calm her daughter down, who was getting more pissed because I was helping as I was kind of investigating, right, to what kind of behavior does this. So again, when you hear this story, so that's a teacher, her kid and mom are in the car, the dad works in construction, and she can't role model it, and she's putting her whole family at risk, and she hates the guy that knows the difference between right and wrong, who's helping her change her tires so she can keep putting her family at risk.